Hello, this is Karmen, your divine synergist of heart's joy. Thank you for tuning into today's weekly video. Jeannie Dickerson is back joining. Hello, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
I hear you have some more questions, and that's what we're going to get answered in today's video.
Yes, I do. So I can't wait to get some answers to some things.
No brain. So I think we're going to talk about eclipses. So we're in eclipse season right now. So we're going to have 3 eclipses over a 4-week time frame. And we also are going to talk about, I think, 3D and 5th dimensional energies, and then help you guys understand the Schumann Resonance, and talk about, what was the other thing? Oh, how a lot of people are feeling different things during this time period. And so how to help you guys deal with them. So I'm going to let you fire away.
Okay, so let's get into the eclipses. So can you just tell us a little bit about each of the eclipses that are happening, and kind of explain to everyone like what does this mean for us, and what's happening to us right now?
What we're experiencing right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give you guys a quick general overview of what eclipses are. So eclipses, basically, they're going to bring things hidden that were hidden. They're going to bring them up to the surface. They're here to help bring things in balance. And how they bring things in balance is they could change timetables. So, and it maybe your priorities too. It's almost like energy reset button. So this is one of the most dramatic tools the universe has in order to create rapid change and progress in a short amount of time frame. So eclipses also, they come in families, what they're called families. So like we're getting ready, we're in the middle of one. We had one, what date was it that we had the first one?
Wasn't it June 5th?
June 5th. So at the full moon, we had the first eclipse. And over these next 4 weeks, because the next one is going to be on the 20th, I believe. Yeah, 20th at the new moon. And then the next one after that is going to be July 4th, the full moon eclipse. When we say they come in families, it's because it's the energies. So think back to May, June of 2002. Think back to where you were, what energy you were experiencing at that time, not so much what you were doing, just what your energy was, where you were along your journey. And that's the same energy that you're going to experience, everybody's going to experience over these next 4 weeks. So, and know that because you've shifted, that you're going to take different actions now than what you did back then. Can you think back about where you were in 2002, May, June 2002? Is there like anything significant that?
So could this also be like why like old feelings are coming back up, that we were experiencing them, whether it's good or bad? And because I've noticed like I've had some things come up since the eclipse, and it's things from my past which I felt like I had let go of, but obviously they were still there. And it's interesting because it's like how I felt in that time in my life. So
100%, 100%, yes. And also we're in pre-shadow to Mercury retrograde, which starts June 18th too. So, and people tend to come back from your past as well. Definitely, yes, with eclipses. So know that, so technically the eclipse, what they call doorway, is open. So June 6th, 7th is when the doorway opened. And you're going to start to receive answers, and they're going to be revealed really slowly. So again, I encourage everybody to journal. Like these people who are coming back, journal how does that feel? What does that look like for you? Notice any signs that you're receiving, whether it's the consecutive numbers or music. Like a lot of it for me is music because that takes me right back to time and place. During the eclipses, make sure that your actions are in alignment with your values. Every single day, everybody's gonna get a lot of clarity. So it could be, you were feeling kind of fuzzy at all before the eclipses? Maybe
Well, yes, a little bit. I mean, it's definitely an interesting time. So, you know, is my father-in-law passed away like literally right before then. So it was like we were dealing with all that. And then I just noticed that ever since the eclipse happened, I've been really struggling with some inner turmoil, and it's things from my past. So that's why, you know, what you were saying, it really resonated with me because I was like, oh, now that makes sense. Like, why am I thinking about that? And it's like, and I've also been like, okay, telling myself like, okay, it's time to let go of that. Like, it does not serve me anymore.
Yep, and especially the energies this week, in and of itself, because we're moving from Gemini to Cancer, a lot of people, including myself, we felt stuck. And so, and it's because of that too. It's because of it's time to let go of old stories.
Yeah.
With our last video with retrogrades, it's time to let go of whatever it is, the baggage. And we're noticing this not just personally, but in society, everything that's happening today. You know,
Yeah.
so it's just something to notice. And yes, so like for me, I wrote down what were any old stories that I got to let go of. And the eclipses, they will take care of it for you if you don't do it, whatever that looks like. So yes, that is why things are coming back from the past. So eclipses, so for me, I felt like time doesn't exist. And that time has really shifted, and you're also gonna experience that more so during the eclipse time too. The one thing I'm excited about is the next eclipse, June 20th. That is a new moon, and they call it a ring of fire because it's gonna look like there's a ring of fire around the moon because it's a solar eclipse and how it looks. So I'm excited to see that. So yes, yeah, just keep that in mind. Journal on that for eclipses. Does that help answer your question about eclipses at all?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, awesome. We could be here all day talking about this stuff.
I know.
That energy, by the way, for the eclipses, that can last up to 6 months or longer. Like, so it's definitely a long lasting energy.
Yeah, it's good to know. So I think the next thing that do you have anything else to add about eclipses before we move on? Okay.
No, we could be here forever.
I know. So the next thing I think it's like really important to talk about is everybody keeps saying that we're shifting, like we're moving from 3D into 5D. Can you explain a little bit more? What does that mean?
So yes, so last, I think it was June or July, the overall energies shifted from a third dimension energy to a fifth dimension energy. So third dimension is we feel the need to control. We're very much in our ego. There's a lot of duality, right or wrong, like I'm right, you're wrong, good, bad. I call this getting in the weeds or playing in the sandbox. So a great visual too is you think of like the people playing on earth and arguing, things of that nature, and then you've got your angels who you can't see, right, are up above looking at everything. A fifth dimensional energy is up here and you're looking down. type thing. So it's definitely we're in our ego when we're in third dimension. The fourth dimension is where we're breaking our karma. And by the way, we go back and forth, right? So we could be in the third dimension, which is actually a lower level energy. And then as we get a higher level energy, vibration energy, that's when we hit the fifth dimension. We're letting go of old ways. So I hope you guys are seeing like the pattern, the theme, letting go of old ways, old stories, truly being in the present moment. You may have heard like manifestation is happening really quick. This is why. When we are vibrating in this higher dimension, this fifth dimension, the manifestation, our prayers are being answered immediately. This is where we're following our intuition. You're really in your body is where you are. You're living from your way of being instead of your head. Which is why in the daily journal, I have us focus on how do we want to show up? That's your way of being. So you're automatically stepping into your body instead of the ego or your head, the brain. So this is the oneness consciousness. And so really we're being asked in this fifth dimensional energy to be in this oneness consciousness or this oneness idea. And this is why we're experiencing, I believe, while we're experiencing the current situation with the race relations today, because we're being asked to shift. And we talked about this, I believe, in the last video, systems crumbling with the retrogrades, with Pluto. We're literally in a time of rebirth, restoration, transformation, and ending old karmic patterns. So it's like I call it like the perfect storm in a way, because we've had the fifth dimensional energies in, now we have these retrogrades, and now you put an eclipse in there too. So think that eclipse is now going to speed up the timelines of what's going on. Responsibility too is when you're in that fifth dimension energy, that for me, it's a vibration or a feeling. It's a way of life. It's like you're taking responsibility for you, for how you're showing up. Is there a phrase, something about your energy speaks before you enter a room or something? It's true, because I know you can definitely feel the energies. I can too, before anybody.
Oh, yeah.
So, the other thing too is a lot of people will describe the dimensions differently. So this is my understanding of it. Everybody has their own understanding. Some people think that it's based on chakras as well. That doesn't resonate with me. And we go back and forth because we are spiritual beings having this human existence. And so do I sometimes play in the weeds or the sandbox and get frustrated? Yes. Do I sometimes get in my ego? Yes. And then when I realize it, I'm able to realize it and take a step back and step into that fifth dimensional energy. So it's not something that's unobtainable, is why I'm saying this. It's very much obtainable to experience.
Well, I think that some people don't understand that you can still try, like, be within the dimensions. Like, just because you start seeing things like in this 5D energy doesn't mean that you're not also going to have moments where you're in that third dimensional energy too. And I mean, that it's okay, like, for us, for those things to happen, it happens to everyone, but I think the biggest thing is because we're all making this big change into this more oneness, like the love of being in the higher vibrations of like enlightenment, joy, love. It's just important to like recognize like when we're slipping back into like our ego and letting, that take over and pull us down to this third dimensional energy.
Yep. And even I mentioned earlier signs, people are getting signs.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually, when I was cooking a few days ago, I cut my thumb and on the left side of my body, and your thumb is your ego. And I knew that I was there that day. I was very frustrated that day. And so I just kind of had to laugh because I looked down and I knew exactly what it meant. Female ego. Me, okay. Time to step out. Time to do it, time to do it differently.
Yeah.
So those are different signs too that people are getting. So.
And I want to say, like, everybody experiences this energy shift differently. So
They do, and so let me bring up my list so I don't forget anything. So everybody has different physical impacts, and I'm hearing from different people different things. So you could experience flu-like symptoms, ear ringing. For me, and by the way, I should probably say, be sure to consult a physician first, and get tested for whatever needs to be tested, if anything. Rule anything out before this. For me, I know that my ear ringing is more a communication tool for my angels, and my left one gets really high pitched when they want me to pay attention to whatever's happening. And for me, it's basically messages that they're sending. You could feel aches and pains. You could have disrupted sleep. You could also wake up between 2 and 5, 2 and 4. I woke up the other morning, I think at like 3:30, 4 o'clock, just wide awake. You could have vivid dreams or nightmares. You could be very tired, have chronic fatigue, feel very drained. Or you could feel zoned out, spaced out. You could feel very emotional. It's all really going to depend. And some of the things I like to do, and I'd love to hear what you do too, are drink plenty of water, take saltwater baths, meditate, get out in nature is my favorite. Avoid caffeine or alcohol because that actually lowers the energy vibration. Consume high vibrational foods. And for me, what I've learned is if I feel like sleeping, then, and if I can take a nap, I take a nap, because that sleep time is when you're getting, I call them upgrades. Everybody calls them something different. So what do you do?
I meditate a lot. I will do a salt bath and meditate in that. Usually, so I always make the joke because everybody knows that I don't sleep at night, and I'm like, well, the spirit world is really busy at night. They're always like trying to come in and communicate with me, and so a lot of times, like when I'm not sleeping, I'll meditate. Like I'll lay there and just, try to silence my mind and be completely silent and see, if anybody has anything they want to relay to me, they do. I think the most important thing though, when you're not sleeping, because, you're getting up in the middle of the night, is not to get frustrated. Like I just don't even get frustrated for it. I literally will, before I go to bed, I'll just say, hey, if I get an hour of sleep, please make my hour of sleep feel like I had 8 hours of sleep. So, and it seems to work for the most part, and then the nights where I do sleep all night, that's great, but I drink a lot of water. I think I probably drink like a gallon of water a day, I like to be outside a lot. So those are things that help me. I think meditating is probably the biggest key to everything, because like, the last few weeks, I really haven't had a chance to meditate that much because of, everything going on with my father-in-law and trying to get, ready for that and just get through all of that. I really realized not only not meditating, and just being emotionally drained, how much that really has thrown me off and really put like these things, like I was telling you about, like I have all these issues coming up, and I think that that's part of it. Like I'm not on my routine of self-care. So
It's almost like you're a little disconnected from yourself,
yeah.
because it all happens, and to get back, what to do to get reconnected, basically.
Yeah, and then I see numbers all the time. Like that's how I get my messages sent through. I see like sequence of numbers. It'll be the same thing. I'll be like, okay, I know, I hear you.
Uh-huh. I laugh because I got some yesterday and the day before, and I just laughed and shook my head.
Oh, I get them every day, at least several times a day, because like that's how they know that they can communicate with me. So
the act
it's not,
is just
yes.
so. I just laugh. I'm like, okay, thank you. Like I knew that, and this is just confirmation. So thank you.
I do the same thing. I always laugh. I'm like, okay, thanks. I know.
So, what do you have any other questions during this time frame?
Um, I guess like we've kind of went over like the physical aspect of things that people can experience. Like, do you feel like this big shift that's going on, politically across the world, like this is all from all of this energy, and it's just like, you know, like they're telling us like to stop, pay attention, and refocus.
Hands down, hands down. There's a meme going around. I've got a copy of it somewhere that says like when Pluto was in retrograde, this happened, and when Saturn was in retrograde, this happened. So yes, absolutely. We are getting new systems. I feel like on all levels, and it's time for a shift. It's For me, it's time for a new world, whatever that looks like, because I don't think it's bad. I think it's going to be great. Um, and so, absolutely, hands down, all of this, we're experiencing it all. And it just so happens that it's all happening at one time.
Yeah.
I find it interesting how we were in quarantine, and then and then that shifted into, the race relations. And I feel like it's all divine. Like it's all divinely happening, I guess is how I should say it. And that's why it's so important to be aware of what is happening with you personally, because I feel like that's what's going to help us get through and create the change, because I always talk about co-creating our lives. We get a chance to create what this looks like. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it, which I think is a beautiful thing, that we're getting a chance to create what we want things to look like, especially what wasn't working in your life before.
Right.
And I can't remember if we talked about this before or not. I have a lot of people coming to me saying even their relationships, like their friendships, have shifted. Absolutely, especially during eclipses and this Venus retrograde. That's absolutely going to happen too.
Yeah.
So, and you guys, Neptune's getting ready to go into retrograde the day after Venus slows down. I don't even want to say moves direct, because it's not moving, it's just slowing down, right? So then we're going to get a new set of energies when Neptune goes retrograde. So absolutely, to me, it's all being divinely guided. So does it feel frustrating sometimes? Yeah. And look at I do what I can to look at the beauty of it and how amazing it is that we get to have this time to create, what we want. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So do you want to talk about the Schumann resonance at all? Because I feel like that's another thing that kind of is playing a big part in what's going on.
Yes, it is. Thank you. So for those of you who are new to this realm, Schumann resonance, it's basically measures the Earth's aura, or the electromagnetic field. A lot of times people call it the Earth's heartbeat. So it typically has a base frequency of 7.83 hertz. And this also is the same as our alpha brainwave state. And actually, it has been amplifying since we started to experience these fifth dimensional energies since last year. So I think one day it was, I don't know, 17 or 18. It was definitely in the double digits. And so, and it's going to fluctuate as well. And that also plays into that we're all gonna feel it, and we're all probably gonna feel it a little differently. So some people may feel agitated, some people may feel activated or inspired, some may feel really headachy. I hear a lot of people having a lot of migraines lately.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of migraines.
Tired, you could feel tired and restless, or you could feel completely upshifted in consciousness. For me, what I realized back in 2017, when there was another piece of my journey that I started then, was even though I would eat something, I still felt like I wanted to pass out. And that's the upshift for me. I realized I equated that to the upshift in my consciousness. So just keep in mind that that's happening too. Some people can't sleep when the Schumann resonance is really high. Just think of it as turning up a volume on a stereo. And it's literally the heartbeat of the earth, or the center of the earth, and we're all feeling it. This also impacts solar winds. And we, if you want, we can do a whole nother video on that too. Because the two go hand in hand as well. I've got a couple apps on my phone where I can see the Schumann resonance and I can see the solar winds. Because when the solar flares and things happen, we get a notification and then know that we're going to feel it like 2 to 3 days later here on Earth. So yeah. So we are being.
And I just think, I was going to say, I think it's just important that, people kind of, if you pay attention to all of this energy, whether you believe in it or not, but if you pay attention to it, you will start to notice a very significant pattern, and just be aware, like maybe you're not experiencing anything. That's okay. Like, you don't have to experience anything, but maybe you'll see the other people around you are, you'll notice somebody's more agitated one day, and it's because all of everything going on in the world is having an effect on people physically, mentally, emotionally, and there is a pattern going on. I mean, obviously, like look at all of the political change that is happening around us. Like, we literally said in the last video, like, there's going to be a big change, big radical change, like a rebirth, like, and it's starting to show, like, like everyone is, collectively kind of coming together, and the world is starting to change.
And for me, everything that I've learned, this is a minimum of a 10-year shift, because change takes time, and there's other things happening too. And once I understand what they are, I'm going to share them with you guys. I want to make sure I understand it first before I share it with anybody else. And there are really some interesting changes that are on the horizon as well. So, which is exciting. It really
Yeah.
is. So, wonderful. Do you have any other questions?
No, I don't have any other questions. So, do you have any advice for us, like going into this this Mercury retrograde and these eclipses?
Take care of yourself, whatever that looks like for you, because I feel like we, especially women, tend not to take care of ourselves. So I think for me, self-care and just be aware, high awareness, and journal. I love to journal, and the reason why is because I get it all out of my brain and my body, and then it helps me to really understand and connect the dots in order to shift. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much. I'm gonna share this video on YouTube, so make sure we get the word out there. And if you guys want to see other more content in the future like this, make sure to click the notification and the bell. So subscribe and like notification. I don't know. It's all on all the platforms. Anyway, much. Great to see you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for answering all my questions. So,
Anytime. That's what I'm here for. So, sending you guys so much love, and we'll see you soon.